Hey everyone, it's Yvonne Inglesas here from the Eating Disorder Recovery Hub, and today I am talking about why is recovery so hard. Now, this is a massive topic, right? Because the reality is having an eating disorder is super difficult. It is beyond tormenting. And I always say to family members and loved ones and anyone else around the person with an eating disorder, if you can think about the worst day you've ever had and then multiply it by about 1,000, you might be getting close to how someone with an eating disorder feels about themselves and their life. So it's difficult having an eating disorder. So most people would think, well, it's natural, you would want to get out of it. Well, yeah, of course, everybody wants recovery. I haven't met anyone that really wants to hold on to the eating disorder. At some level, you know, they may hold on to it because it's assisting them and it's going to be difficult to let go of it. Of course, there's all those factors. However, why is it so hard to recover? I mean, I think my number one thing with this is that most people oversimplify what eating disorders are about. If they were just about body image, if they were just about wanting the ideal body or a diet gone wrong, like a lot of people think, and if it was just about the media's impact on us, then if all of those things were removed, then potentially recovery would be okay. Well, I actually don't agree that those things are the key things, because eating disorders are way more than what you would initially think. So why is it so difficult? I think other than people oversimplifying the fact that eating disorders are intense and they're really difficult to deal with, not just for the person, but for everyone around them. The other thing is that you need to be consistent, right? Recovery can't be something that you do on the side. So it can't be, I've got all my life happening and I go into, for example, treatment, or I go into therapy. In that 1 hour, I focus on recovery, and all the rest of the time, I'm just thinking about the eating disorder and my behaviors and what I'm doing and how much weight to lose and how my body looks and all of that. That cannot be your focus, right? It cannot be 1 hour of your time. What I say to my clients is no matter what you are doing, recovery has to be at the forefront. It has to be consistently the thing you focus on. So what do I mean by this? Okay, if you are studying, right? If you are someone who's at college or university and you are studying for exams, someone who is focused on recovery will know that putting boundaries around how many hours you study is actually important, because it's part of how you learn to regulate yourself. When you are someone like me who had a binge eating disorder and bulimia, I used to study forever, okay? And I never gave myself a break. I never actually rested. I did really well, but that wasn't the point. The point was I was so exhausted by the end of it that the only way I could prop myself up was to continue engaging in the eating disorder behaviors. So that was not me thinking of recovery at every single point of my day, right? So this is, I think, one of the biggest challenges for clients and anyone who has an eating disorder, is that you see recovery as something you do when it's at therapy time, or for example, when you're focused on meals. Recovery needs to encompass your whole life, yeah? So that means being more authentic, more honest. It means being able to say no, and saying how difficult it is to fucking say no sometimes, okay? So it's not about doing something, only when you're in treatment. Recovery is an every minute of your day thing. Okay, now why is it so difficult to do this? Well, the fact is, an eating disorder is actually helping you to distract yourself from whatever else is going on. So the fact that you're distracting yourself might be the very reason that the eating disorder becomes your main focus, right? Because you actually don't want to think about anything else going on in your life. You don't want to acknowledge what's really going on in relationships. So you might be in an unhealthy relationship and think that it's better if I just focus on this eating disorder. You may be in neglectful or abusive situations. Eating disorders are things that, I think we really need to stop making this just about the body and about food, because eating disorders are so fucking much more than that. And the sooner you get that into your mind, the more you are going to know that recovery, while it's difficult, is something that needs to be part of your day-to-day existence. So another thing, if you're really focusing on recovery, is to actually realize that self-compassion is key to that, right? And I've talked about this before, but if you are serious about recovery, you seriously want to get out of this eating disorder, you cannot be mean to yourself every second of the day but want to not use the eating disorder behaviors. It doesn't work like that, right? The more you're going to go on at yourself, if you are a tyrant towards yourself, the likelihood of you needing the eating disorder behaviors is heightened, guys. It's really, you're going to need them to help soothe yourself. So if you don't make self-compassion a key component to your everyday existence, recovery is going to be even harder than it already fucking is, right? So consistency, self-compassion, two major things. You cannot recover without them. You cannot see recovery as a part-time thing. Now, most times people start focusing on recovery when shit gets really bad, right? Worst time to be thinking about it. You need to focus on recovery every second of the day, right? Focusing on, how do I get myself out of here? You won't always have to think like that, right? But for the moment, if you have an eating disorder, right, you cannot keep obsessing about the behaviors. That is where everyone gets stuck. They get stuck on thinking, I can't stop binging, I can't stop purging, I can't stop restricting, I just can't do it, or I've got to follow this meal plan. And they focus solely on those things, and they miss the point, completely miss the point of working on your internal world in order for your external world to change, right? Most people will focus on trying to change the behaviors. So this is another major reason that eating disorder recovery is so difficult, because most people focus on the wrong thing. Where are you focusing on? Are you focusing on trying to stop the behaviors, right? Or are you looking at what might be driving you towards the behaviors? Now, there's a massive distinction with this, and I will be talking about this heaps in our Eating Disorder Recovery Hub in the membership site, because most people get really focused on, I need to stop this behavior. I really can't stand it when I binge. I really can't stand it when I purge. And the reality is, that is a smokescreen. That is what you get distracted with. And that's what makes recovery even more difficult, because you're not focusing on what led me to need the behaviors, right? Actually ask yourself, why did I need that? Now, at the beginning, I'm going to tell you, it is almost impossible for you alone to actually realize why you're doing it, because you just think it's what you do. It's a habit. But there is absolutely a reason you do this, and it's beyond biological. I've had, we're having great discussions in the membership hub about people thinking it's just biology or it's just this. Well, eating disorders are not just one thing. They're both nature and nurture. They're both of those things. And you have to learn that your environment, how you speak to yourself, is going to have an enormous impact on your capacity to recover. So if you just stay focused on the behaviors and don't look at how you are in relationships, and you're not looking at the fact that you are always people pleasing, or the fact that you, for example, never speak your truth, or the fact that, for example, you don't know how to have healthy boundaries. If you never actually look at those things, if you never focus on those things, you are going to make recovery even more difficult than it already is, right? So if you want to save time in your recovery, if you want to get real about recovery, it has to be constantly at the forefront of your mind, right? It cannot be a part-time gig when things get bad. It has to be something that you're always thinking about, right? If you have an argument with someone, you don't just turn to the behaviors to get through it. If you're really focused on recovery, what you will need to start doing is go, okay, how do I may still need the behaviors for the moment, but my skills that I'm going to need are to be a little bit more honest, to actually speak up about what I need, to actually ask myself, what do I need and how am I feeling? These are just some things that are going to need to become part of your everyday life for you to know recovery is going to be possible, right? So I'm getting some likes. It's really cool. I'm loving that you guys are here listening to me talk about why recovery is so difficult. I am all about, in this community and particularly in our membership hub, helping empower you to make recovery A, easier, right? B, take less time, right? Because I can't tell you, when I've started learning some of this stuff that I know now can actually help you get permanently recovered, I have the shits that I didn't know it sooner, right? I am pissed off that someone didn't tell me this back when I was, 20 and I'd been struggling 6 years with the eating disorder. No, it took me 14 years and then a lot of clinical work and a lot of my own therapy to realize that some of this stuff is just not common to the people that have eating disorders. It's almost like I was bewildered that there is absolutely key skills you can have to recover and cut time in your recovery. How good would that be to actually not be struggling for like 30, 40 years? I've had clients that are working with me who've had eating disorders for 30 years, and within 18 months, we've transformed their life where they're not even engaging in those behaviors. Like, how would that be? And you might say 18 months is too long. Well, in 18 months, you can transform things, but that's how I've been doing it, when I've just in the last couple of years, but I'm now laser focused on helping you get the skills that you can implement straight away to actually get recovery, right? So this is what we're doing in the membership hub. We are giving clients content, key content, and repeatedly talking in our forums about how they can cut time out of their recovery process and how you can actually make sure that you do get recovery versus always being in a space of recovering. It's very different. I'll do another live about that. But for the moment, I really want you to know that for you to have recovery permanently, recovery needs to be at the forefront. It needs to be in everything that you're doing, regardless of travel, regardless of study, whatever it is you do in your day-to-day life. Recovery needs to be the thing on your mind. So I'm going to leave it there. There's heaps more reasons why recovery is so difficult, and I'll do more lives about it, but I'm going to leave it there for the moment, and I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow. Bye.